The long-awaited sequel to The Last of Us Part 2 is finally here. Back in 2015, Nolan North accidentally leaked this game.
Now, last one, I know they're doing Last of Us 2, but my character in Last of Us kind of meta.
But here we are in 2016, right after the PlayStation experience, and we got a phenomenal first look at The Last of Us Part 2. It was stated by Naughty Dog that this game is in early development, so we probably won't be seeing it until at least 2018. But the good news really is that it exists. And today we're going to be going over all the details that we know so far, including a very interesting theory that Joel may actually be dead. And I know some of you may say, well, he's in the trailer, but is he really there? Now, I do ask, if you enjoy the video, make sure to smack that like button. Also, drop down in the comments and let me know how you feel about The Last of Us Part 2 and if you want to see more content from me. Nonetheless, before we get into the theory that Joel is dead, let's start off by going over all the information that we know so far, because some of this actually supports this claim. Most of this information is coming from Neil Druckmann, the game's director, and this is what he had to say. Ellie will be the lead playable character within the game, and Joel will return in a supporting role. The second chapter in the franchise will take place a few years after the events of the original game. It's being assumed that it's probably about 4 to 5 years, as Ellie will be 19 years old and fueled by hate, a major theme of The Last of Us Part 2. Ellie will play differently from Joel, but it was said that revealing any more about her evolution was risky territory. And the reason the sequel is specifically named Part 2 is that it's a complementary story to the first game, and that the two games will tell a much larger story. And some other interesting details to note is that this game will be running on an upgraded engine, and one of the co-directors along with Neil Druckmann, Bruce Straley, will not be returning in the same role. It's unknown if he'll even be attached to this game, but Neil Druckmann will be the lone director of The Last of Us Part 2. And Neil Druckmann also gave a very interesting quote about this game. He said, "I can't tell you how satisfying it is to finally be able to say that Ellie and Joel are back for another intense, harrowing, and emotional adventure. Like many of you, we have a deep love for the world of The Last of Us and its characters, and while a sequel may have seemed like a foregone conclusion, that wasn't the case. We knew that it needed to be a story worth telling, and perhaps more importantly, a story worthy of Joel and Ellie. After spending years on different ideas and almost giving up, we finally uncovered a story that felt special, a story that evolved into an epic journey." Now, we're going to move along to the trailer. I'm going to break down all the huge details that are within this, and I'm also going to explain how all this ties into the fact that Joel is going to die, or he is already dead. Now, the first scene that we're introduced to is obviously just showing off the post-apocalyptic world. We see a few houses that are overgrown, a car that is overgrown, and then we see a stop sign with the fireflies sign. So this probably means that the fireflies are once again coming back, and obviously, spoiler alert to The Last of Us, but Marlene ended up dying after the events of The Last of Us, so I guess somebody's going to assume command. And then after that, it goes to Ellie, seeing her a little bit older. She's tatted up, she's beaten up. She must have just been in a huge fight, and there are a couple of individuals that are around her and in the other room, so I think it's safe to assume that those individuals were trying to kill her, and she obviously killed them. And then as Ellie plays the guitar, as you can tell she's improved, she sings a song called Through the Valley by Sean James, and mysteriously enough, Joel appears, and he ends up walking to her, and then this interaction happens between the two.
"What are you doing, kiddo? You really gonna go through with this?"
I'm gonna find, and I'm gonna kill every last one of them.
Now, the first thing that I want to note is that Joel doesn't look very different at all from The Last of Us. Maybe that's just the shot, but he looks very clean, which is interesting. After Joel finally reaches the room, he looks at Ellie. She doesn't specifically look up at him at all. And then once he says, "Are you alright, kiddo?" she doesn't flinch, she doesn't look up again. And then he asks her, "Are you really going to go through with this?" And just for a second or two, as Ellie looks down, it appears that she's reflecting on her past. She looks disappointed, probably remembering the man who taught her how to play the guitar.
Yeah, once we're done with this whole thing, I'm gonna teach you how to play guitar. Yeah, I reckon you'd really like that. What do you say, huh? Ellie, I'm talking to you.
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure, that sounds great.
And once she puts down her guitar, she says she's going to kill them all. So my theory at this time is that Joel is not alive during this scene, and that Ellie is remembering him, imagining that he's there with her. And that would explain why he looks so clean, and he looks very similar to his character within The Last of Us. But I want to make sure that I mention that Joel appears to be dead in this scene. That's not to say that the whole game may have him completely dead, and Ellie's just remembering him, and maybe she's hallucinating in some way. I think that there's a good chance that the early parts of this game may show how he died or his demise. And the earlier shot that we saw of the fireflies logo on the stop sign cannot be ignored, because that quite possibly may be the group that Ellie's going after. Obviously, after the events of the original game, there's good reason why the fireflies would go after Joel and Ellie. And if this theory does turn out to be the real deal, there's another huge question, and that is to the ending of The Last of Us, and it is, does Joel finally tell Ellie the truth? And he could go down with that secret, or he may possibly tell her before then, and maybe they try to reason with the fireflies, but maybe it's just too late. But anyway, gang, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to smack that like button if you did enjoy the video or found any informative value. Also, drop down in the comments. Let me know how you feel about this story theory, and if you have your own, share it with us. Also, let me know if you want to see more Last of Us Part 2 content on this channel. It's honestly up to you guys. But I have to say that it is awesome to see that Naughty Dog is back with the sequel to The Last of Us. It was just such a phenomenal game. One of the best narratives I've ever experienced in a video game. And in fact, this is the main reason why I picked up a PlayStation 4. But once more, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.